Harry, I'm so sorry.
Steven!
Of all people for Steven Adams to spill on, his wife's cousin Harry Cassidy had to be the worst.
This is... Okay, I can pay for it.
If you can afford to get this cleaned. And on the day of Grandma's party.
Shoot, that's today?
Of course you forgot. Give me your shirt.
I don't think you're gonna want...
Give me it!
It's not exactly the...
What, you thought I was gonna wear it? God, no.
If Harry knew who Steven Adams really was, maybe he wouldn't treat him this way.
Brace you there. Don't be late. Remember, no shirt, no entry.
But no one else knew the truth about Steven's true identity. And now, he was late. He was already on thin ice with his wife, Kim. Her family members were some of the most powerful people in Los Angeles.
The useless husband of yours is still nowhere to be found, huh? Good luck explaining that to Grandma.
Shut up, Harry. He's almost here.
Honey, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's a long story.
Who is that? He can't be a Cassidy.
Oh, he is. He's the infamous son-in-law.
Oh, the broke one who's contributed nothing to the family?
Why do you do this to yourself, Steven? To me. You could have at least put on a clean shirt. It's like you're trying to be the butt of their jokes.
Kim, I didn't do this on purpose.
Just forget it. Let's pay our respects. We'll talk about it after.
Who gave you permission to go in?
Harry, stop. You have no right.
He has no right to enter my family villa dressed
Our
like that.
family villa.
Not for long.
Kim knew Harry was right. She was feeling more anxious than before, especially after seeing the mocking gazes of people around her.
Move, Harry. For Grandma's sake.
Grandma did say that every member of the Cassidy family had to attend. But he's an Adams. Notice the sign.
Kim, why don't you go in and...
Just do whatever you want.
Way to know your place.
Wait till they see who I really am. Hello?
Mr. Adams, I have wonderful news and heartbreaking news.
I guess I'll take the heartbreaking first.
Well, sadly, last night, Father Klein passed away in his sleep,
Oh no.
but he's left his family fortune to you. The Porsche family fortune.
Did you say the Porsche family fortune?
Father Klein believes you passed the test. It's humbled you, and he hopes you will continue to do good with this newfound fortune.
Well, thank you.
And, Stephen,
Yes?
careful who you trust. You are now one of the wealthiest men in the country.
I guess the tables are turning.
5 years ago, Steven had tried to stand up to his father. He and his father seemed to have differing codes of morality when it came to running their family business. But as punishment for speaking up, his father kicked him out. He almost died living off the streets. Fortunately, Father Klein, a generous priest, saved his life. However, the priest had one condition. Steven had to live as a poor and powerless man without complaints for 3 years. He also had to keep his true identity a secret. And then he met Kim Cassidy.
Rest in peace, good man.
We must give thanks for how blessed our family has been. And I hope we shall prosper for years to come.
Grandmother, under your wise leadership, the Cassidy family will rise to new heights.
Harry's a genius. This year alone, he's increased our family profits significantly. Smartest man in the city.
Thank you, Harry. But I couldn't have done it alone. I am grateful to the friends and support we have had all over this great city of ours. Speaking of which, I'm sure all of you are excited to introduce to me the guests you've invited tonight.
The family couldn't hold in their excitement. The main event was about to begin. This was their chance to prove to their family's matriarch with their esteemed guests who amongst them had the best connections in the city. And whoever impressed their grandmother the most would be given the majority of the assets from the Cassidy Trust Fund.
Grandma, meet the head of...
Thank you for coming.
Grandma, this is Dr. Martins, the top plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills.
I hope I never need your services.
You're the only one here who requires no work.
Grandmother, I'd like you to meet my guest. Meet Pete Rockford, the CEO of Rockford International.
Charmed.
It's a pleasure.
Pete Rockford was the head of the most powerful real estate company in the world.
Isn't it time you introduced your guest? Is that really how low things have gotten for you and your delivery boy husband? You couldn't even swing some lawyer?
Well, Tim and I actually invited the head of the Stein family, Jack Stein, ladies and gentlemen.
Steve and I go way back.
Kim couldn't believe it. Her husband had brought Jack Stein, one of the most influential businessmen in the state. But how?
Here is a jade statue as a token of my appreciation.
Harry was skeptical. The Stein family was even more powerful than the Cassidy family. How could someone like Stephen have connections to them?
Come on, Steve-O. What hobo did you hire to play the role of Jack today? What kind of a knockoff statue is this?
Oh, I would be careful with that if I were you, Harry. It's worth $10 million, and we all know how you are with money. Need I remind you of the Murphy deal?
Harry was shocked. He had never heard Stephen talk like this to him before.
Yeah, right. This is obviously fake.
Actually, this is one of a kind. Very impressive guest, Kim.
Kim wanted to explain that it was all Stephen.
Actually, Grandma, it was...
There's no need to explain.
Who was this man? And what had he done with her doormat husband?
I couldn't be more proud of Kim and Harry. And I was going to save this news for the end of the night, but unfortunately, our family's long-standing success may be coming to an end sooner than we think. My loves, our family is in crisis. As you know, we were the majority investor in the Century Garden project. But due to lack of funding, the project has been halted. Also halted are any prospects of returns. The only way to save the family now is by securing a large loan or being gifted a substantial amount. It is time for a brave soul to step up and help. You seem to have no trouble speaking up when it comes to dividends, but when this family needs your help, you are suddenly quiet.
Grandma, relax. Think of your health. I'll think of a way to solve this. Actually, didn't Kim prove the value of her connections today?
Harry's right.
Kim, this family's always had your back. Now it's time for you to have ours.
Actually, Grandma, Jack was Stephen's friend. He's the one who brought him. So, I can't ask for an investment.
It was finally Harry's chance to ruin Kim, so he could be the Cassidy family's only successor.
How could you be so heartless? This family is not only in crisis, but you won't help us? And you're lying through your teeth to our dear grandma? How can someone like Stephen know someone like Jack? Are you mad at Grandma for not prioritizing your family all these years?
No, it isn't like that.
I have an idea. Whoever can secure the $50 million needed for the Century Garden project in the next 2 days will become the sole successor to the Cassidy family. What do you think?
Okay.
And one more condition. Whoever fails will be forced to withdraw from the Cassidy family forever. Them and their immediate family. What's wrong? Scared, little cousin?
We accept. We accept your bet.
Kim.
Trust me.
That's right. We accept.
You better not go back on your word.
Don't worry. I'm not as shameless as you are. Okay, time to spill. How do you know Jack?
He's a friend's dad, an old friend.
Okay. But do you think he can help us get a loan?
No, it's not like that.
Well, then, do you have any connections? Anyone who runs a bank who can help us get a loan of that size?
Honestly, no.
Then why did you accept the bet?
Because I believe in you.
It was time for Steven to put his plan into motion.
Do you have an appointment?
I'm here to see Dave. He knows I'm coming. Jack would have called.
Dave Marks.
Stephen Adams. I'm here to speak with you about a possible investment in the Cassidy family.
Are you the Cassidy family son-in-law? I'm sorry, I can't help you.
What do you mean? You're gonna dismiss me without even knowing the term of the deal?
Because I know who you are. And you're not worth my time.
Steven was sick of being told he wasn't good enough. This was the final straw.
I'll give you one chance.
Excuse me?
One chance to apologize to me and invest in the Cassidy group without charging any fees. I'll forgive the way you're speaking to me. If you don't, you'll regret it.
Is this some kind of joke? I'm not afraid of somebody like you.
I don't care how you do it, but I want global investments to be mine in 10 minutes.
You want to buy a $5 billion company in 10 minutes? That's a lot. Yeah, security. Can you come up here and remove Stephen Adams from my office, please? Hold on, I'm getting in their call. Hey there, boss. You sold my company for $10 billion. To who? To Stephen Adams.
Just had to get rid of some pocket change.
Steven couldn't help but be thrilled at the shock on Dave's face. He was finally getting the respect he deserved.
Stephen. No. Mr. Adams. I'm sorry. You forgive me.
It's too late now.
Deb? Frank?
What do you want, boss?
I need you to dig up any dirt on Dave Marks and how he's run this company. You have 2 days.
This command was worse than a death sentence for Dave. As CEO of Global Investments, he had committed all kinds of fraud over the years, and he would surely go to prison when they found out.
What's your name?
Mr. Adams, I'm Keisha. Keisha Daniels. Been here for 5 years.
Loyal, smart, and kind.
Keisha Daniels was surprised. Who was this handsome, powerful, yet kind man?
Okay. Starting today, Keisha will be the new CEO of Global Investments, and you'll all be getting a raise. If anyone causes Keisha any trouble or disagrees with her, there will be consequences.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Everyone can go. I just need a word with Keisha.
Oh, you're married to Kim Cassidy. I think the most beautiful woman in the city.
Yes, and I need you to do something for me.
Stephen was proud of what he'd done. Now, he just needed to convince Kim he was worthy of her.
Kim, hi.
What are you doing? I'm just on my way to the bank to try to get a loan. Better to at least say I tried before I lose my family and fortune into
I'm not
Harry.
gonna let you lose to Harry. Let's go. I know somewhere you can secure a big loan.
Seriously, Stephen? Global Investments. You really think we can negotiate a deal with them?
I already talked to Jack. He got you an appointment with the CEO. You just have to go in. I'll wait out here for you.
Fine. I'll go in.
Hello. Are you Mrs. Cassidy?
Yes.
Please follow me. The CEO's been looking forward to your arrival.
When Kim went into the office, Keisha hurried over to welcome her. As expected of the most beautiful woman in the city, no one can match up to her, Keisha thought.
Hello, Miss Kim. I'm Keisha, the CEO of Global Investment. I've been waiting for you.
It's nice to meet you, Miss Keisha. After exchanging pleasantries, they got down to business. Miss Keisha, the reason I came today is because of the Cassidy Group. Before Kim could continue, Keisha held up a hand and interrupted her.
Miss Kim, I believe there's no need to waste time on this.
Kim was taken aback by the sudden change in attitude. Ever since she entered the building, everyone seemed like they were trying to get on her good side. Why was Keisha rejecting her so directly? What exactly was going on here?
What I mean is, Global Investment won't invest in the Cassidy Group, because no matter how you look at it, they're losing a business.
Keisha explained. Her words dashed Kim's hope. It seemed like Keisha had only given her a warm welcome because Jack arranged this meeting. I understand. Then I'll be leaving now. I won't bother you. Kim stood up and prepared to leave. Keisha hurriedly went after her.
Wait, Miss Kim, I think you've misunderstood something.
If Kim really left, and she couldn't complete the first task from her boss, her position as CEO would probably come to an end. She couldn't let that happen. Keisha was afraid of further misunderstandings, so she told Kim everything she wanted to say in one breath.
Let me explain. Global Investment will not be investing in the Cassidy Group, but we can invest in you.
Kim couldn't figure out what was going on. You want to invest in me?
Yes. Global Investment has decided to invest $500 million in you. We've already prepared the contract. The only thing that's left is your signature.
Keisha reached for a contract from her desk and handed it to Kim. Kim was shocked. Her original goal was only $50 million. How did she suddenly get $500 million without doing anything? Miss Keisha, are you perhaps joking? Keisha smiled as she sipped her coffee.
Take a closer look at the contract.
Keisha was secretly envious of Kim. Stephen was investing $500 million in his wife. When would she be able to meet a man like him? Kim was in disbelief as she sat back down and reviewed the contract. The more she read, the more she couldn't believe it. This really was a $500 million investment. Moreover, the contract had already been signed and sealed. The only thing missing was her signature. Kim was skeptical. This company wasn't investing in the Cassidy Group. They were investing in her. But why? She couldn't possibly be worth more than the Cassidy Group. Kim looked up at Keisha. May I ask why you're investing in me? Keisha smiled cryptically.
Because you have a patron on your side.
Kim frowned. Could it be Jack? But did he have this much influence? Who is this patron you're referring to? Keisha realized her mistake. She almost slipped up and revealed Stephen's identity. Keisha put on a serious expression.
Miss Kim, we can't reveal your patron's identity. If you insist on knowing, then we won't be able to collaborate.
Kim quickly said that she would stop asking. She grabbed a pen and signed her name on the contract. After their discussion was over, Keisha personally escorted Kim to the entrance. Keisha was relieved that she'd completed the first task her boss had given her.
Miss Kim, take care. We'll call your bank tomorrow afternoon.
Kim was lost in thought. $500 million was not a small amount. Who in the world was her patron, and why did they help her? Kim recalled the name of Keisha's boss on the contract. His first name wasn't there, but his last name was. Coincidentally, the owner of Global Investments' last name was Adams. Could her patron be Stephen? Other than him, who else would do this much for her? Kim turned around.
Miss Keisha, I remember seeing your boss's last name when I was reading through the contract.
It was Adams? Keisha didn't expect Kim to ask this question. She came up with a lie on the spot and replied in a casual manner.
Yes, my boss's last name is Adams. He's from an influential family in Washington, D.C. Please keep this a secret. My boss doesn't want to reveal his identity.
Keisha's response was enough to get rid of Kim's suspicion. Someone from an influential family wouldn't come to Los Angeles just to be the Cassidy family's son-in-law and go through 3 years of humiliation. When Kim exited the building, Stephen rode up to her on his bike. "Is everything all right?" Kim smiled as she held up the contract. After securing an investment, her mood was much better. "Yes, we made a good deal." "That's great! You're amazing! Remember to take me with you to the meeting tomorrow. I want to see the look on Harry's face after he loses the bet." Later that night, Harry and Pete were both with their subordinates at a luxurious hotel suite. Harry swirled the glass of wine in his hand. How did it go? Did Kim go around to each bank and beg for a loan today? Harry couldn't wait to hear about Kim's struggles. Their subordinates exchanged a glance.
No, she actually went to Global Investment. She was there for a half an hour.
Global Investment? Who did she meet with?
Pete asked. The CEO of Global Investment, Dave Marks, was Pete's uncle. Because of their familial relationship, Rockford International and Global Investment were on the rise.
We don't know who she met with, but Stephen took her there on his bike.
Pete laughed.
They rode on a bike? That's hilarious. She probably kicked out before she could even see my uncle's face.
However, Pete wasn't aware that Dave was currently under investigation, because Stephen had instructed his people to keep this a secret. Pete also didn't know that Keisha had become the new CEO. Right, Mr. Rockford. By the way, when can we sign the loan contract between Rockford International and the Cassidy Group? Harry asked.
All of the money will be transferred over the next 2 days. If nothing comes up, I can send you the contract tomorrow morning.
Harry raised his glass for a toast. That's good to hear. As long as I become the head of the family, we'll be able to earn money together. Cheers to our cooperation.
Pete smirked. You should already know that money doesn't matter to me.
Remember your promise. You have to find a way for Kim and me to be together. Don't forget. Pete had wanted Kim for a long time, and this would be his chance. Mr. Rockford, I'm a man of my word. As long as I win the bet, Kim's family will be kicked out of the Cassidy family. At that time, she'll be desperate for anyone to help her. That's the perfect chance for you to show up. Just give her some money. She'll be all yours. The next day, most of the members of the Cassidy family were gathered in the conference room. Harry looked around, but he didn't see Kim. She's still not here. Is she already admitting defeat like that good-for-nothing husband of hers? Several members of the Cassidy family agreed with Harry to get on his good side. I don't think there's a need to wait anymore. It's a waste of time. There's no way Kim succeeded. Harry, you gave her a chance to prove her worth, but she's always been incompetent. There's no changing that. Helen listened to everyone's support for Harry. She never had any expectations for Kim in the first place. The only reason she agreed to this bet was to give Harry a reason to succeed her position as head of the Cassidy family. Helen held up a hand and silenced everyone in the room. There's no need to wait. Harry, tell everyone your results. Harry took out a contract from his briefcase and gave it to Helen. He'd already predicted the outcome from the moment he had made the bet. Everyone, this is a contract that Mr. Rockford gave me this morning. Rockford International has already signed and sealed it. They're willing to loan us $100 million. Everyone was pleased to hear that. Harry's incredible. The Cassidy Group is saved. Kim was never qualified to compete with Harry. Helen smiled approvingly. With a $100 million loan, the Cassidy family would be able to overcome their crisis.
Excellent job, Harry. Since everyone has witnessed your achievement in person, I would like to announce that the successor of the Cassidy family will be...
Helen paused to build anticipation as she looked around the room. Everyone was eagerly waiting for her to announce Harry as the successor. Before Helen could continue, a voice rang out.
Hold on!
Everyone turned to the door. It was Stephen. Harry was annoyed by the interruption. If it weren't for Stephen, Helen would have already named him as the successor. Who do you think you are to come here? You have no right to participate in our meeting. Kim followed Stephen into the conference room. Why can't he come here? He's my husband.
Harry, did you forget about our bet? Or are you scared? Is that why you started the meeting without me?
Kim was confident that she had the upper hand. Harry wasn't deterred by the self-assured look on Kim's face. His subordinates had told him that Kim was at Global Investment for a mere 30 minutes. With her capabilities, there was no way she would have secured an investment in such a short amount of time. Look who decided to show up. Aren't you the one who's scared? Otherwise, why else would you be late? Just tell us you came empty-handed and stop wasting our time. Kim's lips curved upwards. What if I were to tell you that I've secured an investment? Harry didn't believe her in the slightest. His subordinates had kept tabs on Kim yesterday, and they couldn't have possibly followed the wrong person. She couldn't have secured an investment in half an hour. It wasn't just Harry who thought Kim was talking nonsense. The other members of the Cassidy family chimed in to show their support for Harry. Kim, stop messing around. Harry got a loan for $100 million. The contract's already been signed. Even if you did get $50 million, so what? Can your money compete with $100 million? Instead of trying to act tough, it'll be better if you apologize to Harry and ask him to give you a random position at the company. Stephen came to Kim's defense.
Harry, the other day, you said that as long as Kim could secure a $50 million investment, you would give her the position of successor of the family. Are you going back on your word? And why are you all jumping to conclusions? Everything will be clear once Kim shows you the contract. Are you guys scared that she might win? Is that why you've already decided that she's lost?
Harry narrowed his eyes. Who gave a nobody like you the right to speak? Kim glanced at Harry before giving Helen the folder containing her contract. If Helen saw the $500 million investment, Helen's opinion of her and her family would definitely change. Grandma, please take a look. Helen took the folder and looked up at her.
Kim, did you really secure an investment worth $50 million?
Kim nodded. Yes, I did. Helen set the folder aside and reached for her walking stick.
Kim, you did well. From today onwards, our family will take better care of you and your family. Also, I hope you can be content with what you have.
Kim's heart sank. Helen was biased to the point where she couldn't be bothered to read over the contract. It was a $500 million investment. Kim had put in so much effort, but Helen had only told her, "You did well," in a monotonous voice. Harry smirked. Kim, it looks like you still haven't understood the situation. Can your $50 million investment save the Cassidy family? And I'm the oldest son of the family. Do you really think you're qualified to compete with me for a position of the successor? Stephen looked at Harry and then at Helen, as if they were fools. Kim was on the verge of tears when he held her hand.
Kim, we should just go. These people are obviously stupid. $500 million is not the same as $50 million.
Just as Stephen was about to take Kim's folder back, Helen tossed her walking stick aside and grabbed his hand.
Stop right there. What did you just say? $500 million?
Stephen withdrew his hand. He'd achieved his goal.
That's right. It's $500 million. And it's not a loan, it's an investment, so there won't be any interest.
Everyone in the room fell silent. Putting their Century Garden project aside, with $500 million, they could invest in a century's worth of gardens.
Let me take a look,
Helen said as she opened the folder. She took out the contract and carefully looked it over. Harry snatched the contract and threw it on the table.
You sure are bold, Kim. Why would Global Investment give you money? This has to be a fake contract. Don't you know forging contracts is against the law? Are you trying to end up in jail? It's not fake. Global Investment CEO Keisha Daniels personally gave me this contract, Kim argued. Harry didn't expect Kim, who was usually smart and capable, to make this kind of amateur mistake. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Are you still trying to deny it? Even if you did want to forge a contract, you should have done your homework first. The CEO of Global Investment is Dave Marks, not Keisha Daniels. I didn't think you would resort to such tactics just to become the successor. You're ruining the entire family's reputation. Harry turned to Helen. Grandma, I suggest we call the police immediately. Helen's expression darkened.
Kim, you'd better explain yourself.
Kim clenched her fists. I didn't forge this contract. It's real. Kim didn't know what she could say. She had no idea why Global Investment's CEO had suddenly changed either. Grandma, Dave is Mr. Rockford's uncle. Mr. Rockford is at my office right now, so I can ask him to come and tell us the truth. There's no point in arguing. Everything will come to light when he arrives, Harry suggested. Helen agreed. She'd never favored Kim and her family, but she didn't expect Kim to use such underhanded tricks to deceive the Cassidy family. Kim had better prepare herself for the consequences. Stephen whispered to Kim, I'm going outside for a smoke. Harry laughed when he saw Stephen walking to the door. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing? Kim, your good-for-nothing husband is so scared that he's running away. I doubt he's coming back. Why do you even let that stay with you for 3 years? He only brings shame to our family. I thought you would have become smarter after all these years, but you're still incapable and irresponsible. Kim watched Stephen leave with tears in her eyes. She didn't expect him to leave her when she was in a difficult situation. Sometime later, Pete walked into the conference room in big strides. When Harry informed him of Kim's contract, he almost laughed out loud. This is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense for Global Investments to invest $500 million just for Kim. Everyone in the city knows that Dave is my uncle, and he's the CEO of Global Investment. I've never heard of Keisha Daniels. Does this person even exist? All of a sudden, Keisha burst into the office, followed by Stephen.
Who's saying I don't exist?
Keisha demanded. Stephen had used the excuse to go out for a smoke to call Keisha and ask her to come over to clear up the misunderstanding. Stephen, you good-for-nothing. How dare you bring someone unrelated into the conference room? Where are the security guards? Come and throw these two out right now, Harry shouted. Keisha wasn't bothered by his threats. She radiated an intimidating aura.
Who dares to touch me? I'm the CEO of Global Investment.
Stephen stood to the side and watched them argue. He'd chosen the right person to become the new CEO. Keisha was more capable than he'd expected. Pete was in disbelief that someone was openly impersonating his uncle as Global Investment CEO. That's nonsense. Where did you two find someone like her? If you apologize right now, I'll ask my uncle to spare you. Otherwise, you should prepare yourself for what happens next. Keisha gave Pete a cold look.
Pete Rockford? Rockford International is your family's company, right? I've checked the accounts, and the numbers don't add up.
Pete was flustered by her accusations. He didn't know why she knew so much. You're lying, Keisha shrugged.
Do you really think so? Rockford International has just declared bankruptcy. If you don't believe me, you can call your dad to confirm.
Keisha looked at Helen and the other members of the Cassidy family.
Why are you all making wild guesses? Global Investment and Kim's collaboration can be checked on our company's official website.
As soon as the words left her mouth, everyone took out their phones and searched up Global Investment's website. After a brief silence, someone held up their phone. I found it! The members of the Cassidy family crowded around the phone. I'm on the Global Investment's official website. There's a picture of Kim and Miss Keisha signing the contract on the front page. It really is a $500 million investment. Her family is saved. But why did Global Investment invest in Kim instead of the Cassidy Group? Are you dumb? When Kim becomes the head of the Cassidy family, her money will belong to the company. Pete was at a loss. It's all a lie.
Global Investment CEO is my uncle, Dave Marks. Just you wait. I'll call him right now and expose your scheme. He took out his phone and dialed Dave's number, but the call didn't go through. Dave's phone was turned off. Pete hurriedly called his father instead. It took a few tries before he picked up.
Rockford International is going bankrupt. It's over for us,
his father exclaimed frantically. Even though no one could hear the person on the other end of the line, everyone knew that Keisha's claims were true when Pete collapsed onto the chair with a defeated look on his face. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone held their breaths, and no one dared to speak. Rockford International was a successful company that far exceeded the Cassidy Group. How could they have gone bankrupt overnight? Unbeknownst to everyone in the room, this had all happened because of Stephen. Since Keisha had accomplished what she'd come to do, it was time for her to leave. She went up to Stephen. Keisha quickly corrected herself.
Sir, if there's nothing else, I'll be heading back to the company.
Stephen didn't say anything. He only nodded in response. Their brief interaction didn't escape Kim's notice. Keisha and Stephen had shown up together. But it didn't make sense for Global Investment's CEO to come in person to help her out. There had to be a reason she didn't know of. Maybe Stephen used Jack's name to get Keisha to come here. Forget it, she probably came because of Jack. Stephen shrugged. If you say so. He didn't care too much about the misunderstanding. It wasn't the right time to tell Kim the truth. The members of the Cassidy family rushed over to Kim. Now that it was confirmed that Kim really had secured a $500 million investment, it was a given that she would become the head of the family. They all started talking at the same time.
Kim, I watched you grow up. I even took care of you one time when you were a little girl. Please support me in the future.
Kim, I've always thought you were talented. You'll definitely achieve a lot more in the years to come.
She's right. Our family is saved because of you. It's all thanks to your hard work.
Kim was taken aback by all the compliments. They'd never praised her this much before. Stephen noticed that Helen hadn't said anything for quite some time. He was concerned that she would go back on her word.
Grandma, Kim obtained an investment of $500 million. She won the bet, and she saved the Cassidy Group. Don't you have something important to announce?
Helen hadn't expected the situation to unfold like this. She'd originally planned to use Harry's bet as a way to make him the head of the family. Who would have thought that Kim would be able to get such a large investment? Harry crossed his arms. Why are you in such a hurry? Are you planning to steal the Cassidy family's inheritance? Even though Harry was talking to Stephen, he spoke these words for Helen to hear. Harry knew that she didn't want the Cassidy family to fall into the hands of outsiders. And Harry was right. As soon as Helen heard those words, she started to panic. She couldn't let an outsider lead the Cassidy family. Kim might have achieved something that Harry couldn't, but Stephen was her husband. No matter how useless Stephen was, there was a chance that Kim would hand over the family's company to that freeloader. After thinking it over, Helen came to a decision.
Kim, do you have any objections to giving the $500 million to the company?
Kim agreed without a second thought. She was anticipating Helen's next words. I don't mind. I'm also a part of the Cassidy family. This is something I should do.
Great. As the head of the Cassidy family, I would like to formally thank you for your efforts. Starting today, we'll provide you and your family with more resources.
Thank you, Grandma. And is there anything else?
Of course there's more. We'll have to schedule subsequent meetings and decide how to use this money together.
Everyone looked at Helen and then at Kim. It felt like Helen had completely forgotten about the bet between Kim and Harry. From the moment Kim arrived until now, Helen had been treating her like she was invisible, as if her only worth was the $500 million investment. Kim bit her lip in disappointment. No one dared to say a word. Stephen stepped forward and spoke up.
Grandma, did you forget about the bet? At that time, you and everyone here were present. We were all witnesses.
Helen looked at him coldly.
What right do you have to meddle in our family's affairs? From the very beginning, I said the successor will be whoever is capable enough to take my place.
Helen picked up her walking stick and headed to the door. Before she left, she looked back and said,
I'm proud of how far the Cassidy family has come. We've achieved a lot in the past few years. The successor of the family isn't an easy decision to make. That's why, next Tuesday, I'll officially announce the successor in front of the media. One by one, the members of the Cassidy family left the conference room. Harry sneered as he watched Stephen and Kim leave. You better be prepared for next Tuesday. I'll become the successor no matter what it takes. When Kim and Stephen went home, they were greeted by Kim's mother, Natalie. Kim informed her of what happened during the meeting. Natalie's eyes widened. Did you really get an investment worth $500 million? That's right, Mom. I even won a bet against Harry. It won't be long before I become the Cassidy family's successor. Natalie had her doubts. Did that old woman agree? Grandma said she'll announce the successor at the press conference next Tuesday. Natalie gave Kim a hug. I'm so proud of you. If you become the successor, you'll be the head of the Cassidy family, and no one will ever be able to look down on you. Natalie glanced at Stephen, who hadn't said anything since he came home. Her daughter would become the head of the family soon, but her daughter's husband was as useless as ever. His mere existence brought shame to the family. Rather than a lucky charm, Stephen was more of a jinx, and Natalie wanted nothing more than to chase him away. Why are you standing around? You're just a freeloader. Make yourself useful and prepare dinner. Do you want me to starve to death? Mom, don't talk to Stephen like that. I won the bet because of... Kim trailed off when Stephen shook his head. Fine, if you don't want me to care about you, then I won't, she thought. When Kim went to the bedroom to change her clothes, Stephen went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. He'd done everything to make his wife happy. He didn't care if other people had a bad impression of him. The next day, Stephen took Kim to work for the first time on his bike. As they passed by the highest point in the city, Kim asked him to stop for a second. This was the wealthiest part of the city, and only high-class families could afford to live here. She looked at the luxurious villas while yearning in her heart. Being the head of the Cassidy family is only the first step. My goal is to live in one of those villas someday. Stephen looked back at her. Do you like it here? Of course. It's my dream to live in this neighborhood, Kim said. She glanced at her watch and tugged Stephen's shirt. Let's get going. I'm going to be late. Stephen looked at the villas for a second longer before turning his attention back to the road. Okay, sit tight. 10 minutes later, they arrived at the Cassidy group. Just as Kim was about to get off the bike, a luxury car stopped next to them. A beautiful woman dressed in a classy outfit got out of the car. She was Harry's sister, Rebecca Cassidy. Hey, if it isn't Miss Kim, who managed to get a $500 million investment. How could you ride a bike to work? You're an embarrassment to the Cassidy family. Kim couldn't be bothered to argue with her. Rebecca was well known for her sly and arrogant personality. Ignore her, Stephen. I'm going inside. Rebecca was annoyed when they turned away from her. She wouldn't let them leave until she had avenged Harry. Rebecca held out her arm to block their way. Where do you think you're going? Since you're running away the moment you saw me, do you agree that you did something that you should be ashamed of? I doubt you'll ever be able to afford a luxury car like mine. Stephen pretended to be surprised and gasped. Was your car that expensive? Let me tell you something. My luxury car is worth millions. Even if you save your money for 10 years, you probably wouldn't be able to purchase a single tire. In Rebecca's eyes, Stephen was nothing but trash. She hadn't spared him a glance ever since she came. Since he'd decided to join the conversation, she would take the opportunity and humiliate him. Don't think you're all that just because you're Kim's husband. You can't even afford a car, and yet you have the nerve to take your wife to work? How shameless can you be? Rebecca's voice was loud, and she attracted a lot of attention. While she ridiculed Stephen, the other members of the Cassidy family heard the commotion and gathered around them. A few minutes later, the crowd was stunned by an unbelievable sight further down the street.
Am I hallucinating, or is that the most expensive car to exist?
It's not just one. There's 20 of them. This is crazy. Is some big shot visiting the city? No, look. All of the cars are headed to our company. One after another, the luxury cars stopped in front of the entrance to the Cassidy group. An elderly man wearing a suit stepped out of one of the cars.
He went up to Stephen and greeted him respectfully. "Mr. Adams, please get in the car." The crowd was stunned when the elderly man in a suit addressed Stephen as Mr. Adams, like he was someone important. Kim looked at Stephen in disbelief. Rebecca was especially shocked. It was only a few moments ago when she mocked Stephen for not being able to afford a single tire of her luxurious car. But now the owner of 20 luxury cars was calling him Mr. Adams. Rebecca boldly confronted the elderly man.
Excuse me, did you perhaps mistake this as your boss? He's a freeloader who could barely make a living. Why are you adding honorifics to his name?
The elderly man turned to Rebecca. There was a menacing look in his eyes.
There's no mercy for anyone who insults our boss.
Rebecca felt a chill run down her spine. If she said another word, the elderly man wouldn't hesitate to harm her on the spot. Stephen cleared his throat to get the elderly man's attention. The elderly man's threatening aura disappeared as he looked away from Rebecca. Kim recovered from her shock and tugged on Stephen's sleeve. What's going on? Why are they treating you like their boss? Jack didn't show his face, but Stephen guessed that he was in one of the cars. Stephen hurriedly came up with an excuse.
It's probably because I went to Jack's house when I was younger to play with his son. That's why they're calling me Mr. Adams. I'll be going now. Have a nice day at work.
After saying goodbye to Kim, Stephen went into the car at the center, followed by the elderly man. In the blink of an eye, the 20 luxury cars disappeared down the street. When they left, Rebecca was so relieved that her knees went weak. She almost collapsed on the ground. In the car, Stephen gave Jack a warning look. He had told Jack more than once to keep a low profile because he didn't want to reveal his identity. But today, the 20 luxury cars almost exposed him.
Jack, you'd better have a good explanation for this.
Jack was nervous when he sensed Stephen's anger.
Mr. Adams, I'm so sorry. I'll be more careful next time.
Jack gestured to the elderly man in a suit.
This is Andrew Hendricks. He's one of your subordinates at the palace, and he's also one of our country's top 10 business tycoons. He came to tell you what he discovered about the Adams family while in Washington, D.C.
Stephen hadn't heard of Andrew before, but his position at the palace should be higher than Jack's.
Mr. Adams, please forgive me. I didn't mean to draw so much attention. I tried my best to keep a low profile, but these 20 cars are the minimum necessity to pick you up,
Andrew said in a meek voice. His intimidating attitude when he'd threatened Rebecca was nowhere to be seen. Stephen couldn't be bothered to explain that having 20 luxury cars gathered in one place to pick one person up was overkill.
Forget it. What'd you find out?
In the past, his family had kicked him out of the house because of a few words from a stranger. If the priest hadn't passed by and saved him, he would have been nothing but a pile of bones. Andrew took out the file he'd prepared and gave it to Stephen. Stephen wasn't pleased when he looked it over.
Isn't this interesting? My brother has leukemia, and my family wants me to donate my bone marrow. They're probably planning on sending people to Los Angeles to look for me.
When Stephen tightened his grip on the armrest, it cracked, and the broken pieces fell to the floor. Jack and Andrew kept quiet as they stared at the mess on the floor. They were afraid of Stephen's strength.
Andrew, excellent job. Keep an eye on them. When they send people to the city, inform me as soon as possible.
Andrew was relieved that Stephen had approved of his work.
Yes, sir.
When Stephen looked out the window, he noticed the luxury villas that Kim had talked about this morning. She told him that it was her dream to live there.
Jack, how many villas are at the highest point in the city?
Jack had done his research on these villas before, so not only did he know how many there were, he also knew how much it would cost to purchase them.
There's 21 villas. 20 of them are estimated to be worth 100 million, and the villa at the very top is worth 300 million. Okay, my wife told me she wants to live in one of those villas. Take care of it. I understand, Mr. Adams. Which villa would you like to purchase? As the Grand Palace Master, I believe the villa at the top would be suitable for someone of your caliber.
Stephen looked at Jack as if he had just asked a stupid question.
What do you mean, which villa? I was asking you to purchase all of them. All of the villas?
Andrew exclaimed in disbelief. 21 villas would cost $2.3 billion. Jack didn't have much of a reaction. After all, Stephen had asked him to purchase global investments for $10 billion not too long ago. Stephen took out his phone and looked at the calendar. Jack, I want all of the property certificates for the villas before the end of this week. Jack answered without hesitation. Yes, sir. But on the inside, his heart was racing in panic. He had no idea how he would be able to complete such a large purchase in a week. To make things more difficult, those who lived in the villas were some of the wealthiest families in the city. By the time Stephen finished his discussion with Jack and Andrew, it was already time to pick up Kim from work. He waited outside the company for quite some time, but he still didn't see any sign of her. Stephen decided to go in and look for her. The first thing Stephen saw when he went inside was Rebecca. A young man was standing next to her. Rebecca hadn't completely recovered from her shock this morning, and she hadn't forgotten the humiliation she faced because of Stephen.
Is this who I think it is? Aren't you the boss who needed 20 luxury cars to pick you up? Why are you still going around on a bike?
Stephen ignored her and looked at the young man standing next to her. Where's Kim? This man was one of the members of the Cassidy family, and he didn't think too highly of Stephen.
How would I know?
Rebecca smirked.
What, are you here to look for your wife? Maybe she's having a good time with another man right now. Why else would Jack have helped you too? Wasn't it because she used her looks to win him over?
Even though Jack had announced that he and Stephen were close, Rebecca didn't believe him. No matter how much she thought about it, she could only come to the conclusion that Jack had attended the gathering as Kim and Stephen's guest because he coveted Kim's attractive appearance. Stephen glared at Rebecca. It didn't matter if people laughed at him or criticized him, but it was a different story if they insulted Kim. Before Stephen could respond, Harry entered the building. Behind him was Kim, who was carrying several bags.
Kim, isn't that your good-for-nothing husband? It looks like he came to pick you up from work. Well, that's the least he can do as a freeloader in your house.
Kim was surprised when she saw Stephen. She thought he had some business to attend to with Jack today. She hadn't expected him to come back so soon. Stephen, why are you here? Stephen didn't say anything. He went up to Kim and took the heavy bags from her hands. Kim had obtained a $500 million investment, but Harry was still looking down on her, and he was even making her carry his bags for him. Why are you doing things like this? Stephen's voice was calm, but Kim could tell that he wasn't too happy about what was happening. Her heart fluttered when she realized that Stephen was angry for her sake. It's fine, just let him be arrogant. I'll become the successor next Tuesday anyway. He won't be able to do what he wants for long. Harry crossed his arms. Next Tuesday? Don't be so full of yourself. You're in such a good mood even though no one knows who's going to win. Helen detested outsiders who desired the power and influence of the Cassidy family. Stephen was Kim's weakness. Rebecca covered her mouth to stifle her laughter, but her eyes were filled with mockery.
Harry, did you know? Next Tuesday is February 12th. It's their anniversary. It's a given that Kim's in a good mood.
Harry responded loudly so that everyone in the lobby could hear their conversation. Oh, please. What anniversary are you talking about? It's more like a day of shame for them. When they married 3 years ago, they made the Cassidy family the joke of the entire city.
I know. Whenever it's February 12th, I'm always scared of going out and being mocked by other people. Where did she even find a husband like him? He only freeloads off of her family. How embarrassing.
The other members of the Cassidy family in the lobby whispered amongst themselves. They agreed with Harry and Rebecca that Kim and Stephen's marriage had nothing good for their family. When Rebecca brought up their wedding anniversary, Kim lowered her head and bit her lip. 3 years ago, on February 12th, she and Stephen had received their marriage certificate, but they didn't have a wedding ceremony. Kim remembered the way she locked herself in her room and cried from evening all the way until dawn. She couldn't understand why her grandfather, whom she was very close to, had written in his will that he wanted her to marry Stephen. Their sudden marriage had ruined her life and made the Cassidy family the laughingstock of the city. Stephen's heart clenched when he saw Kim's helpless expression. For the past 3 years, he'd endured his reputation as a good-for-nothing husband. Even though everyone from the family hated him and looked at him like he was a that anyone could step on, he swallowed his pride and never refuted their criticisms.
However, Kim had suffered even more, and it was because of him. Stephen had been quiet all this time, but he suddenly spoke up as he scanned the crowd. In the future, February 12th will be regarded as a day of celebration. When that time comes, all of you will be jealous of Kim. Everyone looked at Stephen like he was crazy. After a brief silence, they burst into laughter. Stephen ignored them and looked at Kim. I know you had a hard time because of my sudden appearance 3 years ago, but starting today, I'll make it up to you. Kim, as long as you want it, I can give you the world. Rebecca laughed so hard that she almost teared up. You want to make it up to Kim? How are you planning on doing that when you can barely afford a meal? Harry shook his head in disapproval. You want to give Kim the world? Are you filming some kind of movie? What an idiot. Kim gave Stephen a long look. They'd been married for 3 years, but he was always submissive. She didn't expect him to tell her that he would make it up to her and give her the world in front of so many people. Stephen, I'll be happy as long as it's from you, Kim said with a smile. She didn't have any expectations, but she hoped he would be more confident and stand up for himself. Someone shouted from the crowd. What can he even do for her? He's only saying empty words. I heard the moon in the Nile is being auctioned right now. If you really want to give Kim the world, then buy her that necklace first. The crowd erupted into laughter once again. The Moon of the Nile was a necklace designed by Roman, the world's top jewelry designer. The starting bid for this necklace was close to $1 billion. There were only a handful of people in the city who had the money to purchase this necklace. Someone like Stephen, who lived off of his wife, would never be able to afford it. Kim didn't want to listen to their gossip anymore. Let's just leave, she whispered. Many women dreamed of wearing the Moon of the Nile, and Kim was no exception. But the necklace was out of her league, and she could only wonder which lucky woman would end up with the necklace in their possession. Stephen followed Kim out of the building. He didn't miss the envious look on Kim's face when the crowd mentioned the Moon of the Nile. The next morning, Stephen received a call from Jack. He had successfully purchased all of the villas at the highest point in the city. How much did it cost? Stephen was asking, not because he cared about the money, but because he wanted to assess Jack's efficiency and capabilities. Mr. Adams, the total amounted to $5 billion. Ever since Jack had become the point of contact between Stephen and the palace, he felt like they had all the money in the world at their disposal. Stephen was satisfied with Jack's answer. Wealthy families lived in the villas, and it couldn't have been easy to persuade them to move. Considering the high difficulty of his request, using $5 billion to purchase the villas in a single day was a good trade-off. Jack had accomplished an incredible feat. Well done, Jack. After Stephen hung up, Kim called out to him from the living room. Stephen, I need to go out. Come with me. A few minutes later, Stephen and Kim were in a car. Stephen had wanted to take Kim wherever she wanted to go on his bike, but she insisted on getting there by car instead. Stephen glanced at Kim as he drove to the airport. Who are we picking up? Kim looked out the window. Zoe and her husband. They usually don't have time to come to the city, so we should keep them company while they're here. Stephen felt a headache coming on. Zoe was Kim's cousin, and she never stopped talking. Not to mention, Zoe was arrogant, and she took every opportunity to humiliate him. Half an hour later, Kim and Stephen were at the airport. Zoe and her husband squeezed through the crowd to make their way over to them. Kim, it's nice to see you after so long. This is my husband, Henry. Darling, this is my cousin, Kim. Henry's eyes lit up the moment he saw Kim. He didn't know someone this beautiful could exist. Kim greeted Henry politely. It's nice to meet you. This is my... Kim scrambled to come up with an endearing word to call Stephen in the same way Zoe had called her husband darling. This is my hubby, Stephen. Instead of greeting Stephen, Henry turned to Zoe. Darling, is this the son-in-law you're always talking about? Yeah, that's Stephen. Just ignore him. Zoe gave Stephen a disdainful look before continuing her conversation with Kim. Does that piece of trash still not have a job? I really don't know what you were thinking. Why did you marry someone so useless? Kim felt a little embarrassed when Zoe questioned her so directly. Kim, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. You're prettier than me, but you're not as lucky as me. Henry opened up a supermarket chain back home, and he has over $100 million in assets. We didn't come back to Los Angeles just to visit. We came for business. If things work out, Henry might be able to collaborate with some of the top companies here. Henry interjected and acted like a modest gentleman. No, I'm not that impressive. This is just something I have to do as a businessman. Henry looked at Stephen with jealousy in his eyes. Life was truly unfair. How could a good-for-nothing man like Stephen be married to a beautiful woman like Kim? Of course, if Stephen has nothing better to do, he can work at my company. He didn't get far in his education, so he doesn't have the qualifications to work a desk job. He'll have to settle for something like cleaning work. Stephen shot Henry a glare, but he didn't say anything. It was obvious that Henry was trying to make himself look better by offering him a job out of pity. Kim quickly changed the topic to prevent them from criticizing Stephen further. Did you guys plan out what to do in the city? Yes, we're planning to visit the fancy villas today. Henry knows the owner of the villa at the top, Zoe said complacently. Everyone in the city was aware that only wealthy families could afford to live at the villas at the highest point in the city. Having the opportunity to visit was already a great honor. Stephen frowned upon hearing this. Want to visit my house? Did they get my permission? Zoe beamed with pride as she held Henry's arms. Why don't we go together? This is a rare opportunity. Ordinary people would never be able to visit those villas. If it weren't for Henry, we would never have the chance. Kim agreed in a hurry. Sounds like a great idea. I've been wanting to visit for a long time. Ever since Kim was a little girl, she'd always dreamed of living in one of those luxurious villas. There was no way she'd miss the chance of seeing the villas up close. Stephen didn't object. He would just consider their visit as an opportunity for him to familiarize himself with the properties under his name. Before long, the four of them arrived to the gate leading to the villas. A middle-aged man was pacing impatiently at the entrance. Henry stepped out of the car. Wait for me here. I'll head over and say hello to the property manager. Even though we'll be visiting with 2 more people, it shouldn't be a problem because I'm here. After Henry closed the door, Zoe turned to Stephen. Did you see that? This is called networking. My husband is successful and he has friends everywhere. A lazy person like you will never match up to him. Stephen shrugged. Networking? Not interested. He was the Grand Palace Master, and his palace controlled more than half of the world's wealth and influence. The most powerful people in the city would try to win his favor if they ever met with him. What other connections did he need? Zoe let out a sigh. You're hopeless. Zoe couldn't be bothered to lecture Stephen again. To her, he was like mud on a rainy day. Stephen looked at the villas beyond the gate. Oh right, Kim, when we visit, let me know if there's anything you don't like. I'll ask someone to change it. Kim pretended like she didn't hear him. What did he mean by asking someone to change it? Did he think he was the owner of the villas or something? Zoe shook her head. Disdain was written all over her face. Henry returned a few minutes later, and the 4 of them made their way past the gate and towards the villas. Follow me closely. Don't go anywhere on your own. Every flower is expensive, and you won't be able to afford a single one if you damage it. Kim and Zoe nodded seriously. As for Stephen, he didn't care for Henry's warning. He was wandering in his own home. Why did he have to be careful? The 4 of them came across a beautiful garden. This place is amazing. Flowers and birds are everywhere. It's like a scene straight out of a fairy tale, Zoe exclaimed. Kim looked around in wonder. From the carvings to the plants, everything is a work of art. It's mesmerizing. Zoe was excited, but she didn't forget to show off. It's all thanks to my darling. Otherwise, you would have never been able to visit. That's why having connections are important. Henry was feeling smug because of all the compliments. Stephen ignored the materialistic couple in front of him and looked at Kim lovingly. She was so happy, even though they were just visiting. Would she be overjoyed when he told her that he'd bought these villas for her? How do you like the environment? Stephen asked. I love it. Kim smiled, and with the garden as her backdrop, she looked like a fairy in a painting. Stephen was bedazzled by her beauty. Henry's gaze was also fixed on Kim, although the look in his eyes was filled with lust. He didn't know how a good-for-nothing man like Stephen could marry an amazing woman like Kim. When Henry looked back at Stephen, he almost gasped in horror. Stephen was stepping on the grass. Stephen, what do you think you're doing? Didn't you hear what I said? You can't damage anything while you're here. Are you trying to ruin our lives by stepping on the grass? Henry scanned their surroundings to make sure that no one was around. He was on the verge of exploding with anger. If Stephen damaged even a single patch of grass, he and Kim wouldn't be able to compensate the property owners, even if they sold everything they had. This meant that the responsibility would fall on the shoulders of whoever invited him here. Zoe put her hand on her hips. Kim, hurry up and talk some sense into this useless husband of yours. Stephen, if you don't step away from the garden, I'll call the security guards to throw you out. Stephen was amused by Zoe's threat. You want to throw me out? Was stepping on the grass in his own home that big of a deal? He wanted to see who would be daring enough to touch even a single strand of hair on his head. That's right. Did you forget we're only here because of my darling? There was more that Stephen wanted to say, but he decided not to when he saw the smile disappear from Kim's face. He walked away from the garden and caught up with them. Not too long after, they arrived at one of the villas at the bottom level. Henry informed them of the layout. The villas were built on a slope. There are 4 villas on each level, with the exception of the most expensive villa at the top. There are rumors that a powerful person lives there. With my connections, this is as far as we can go. Before going inside, I have to remind you all not to talk carelessly or touch anything. Especially you, Stephen. If you want to ruin your life, go ahead, but leave the rest of us out of your mess. Stephen crossed his arms. If you're as capable as you say you are, did you know that someone recently purchased all of these villas? Zoe's jaw dropped. Someone bought all of them? But that would mean they spent an enormous amount of money, right? Kim was also surprised. She didn't know about this. Where did Stephen hear about this mysterious purchase? Henry didn't believe him. Don't spread rumors. No one with a brain would believe your nonsense. Each villa is worth at least 100 million. Who in this city would have the money to buy all of them? Listen, Stephen, if you want to be successful, you have to be mindful of your reputation as an honest... While Henry was talking, he subconsciously leaned towards the table. His shoulder brushed against a large porcelain vase. It teetered on the edge before toppling over and shattering to pieces on the floor. That wasn't the end. The other porcelain vases fell off the table, one by one like dominoes. Henry paled as he watched the horrific scene unfold before him. Zoe was so scared that her voice shook. Those shouldn't be worth that much, right? Henry swallowed nervously. I don't think so. But he didn't sound too sure. Stephen wasn't fazed by the mess of porcelain shards on the floor. Rich people sure are different. You were screaming like it was the end of the world when I stepped on the grass, but now you broke 9 vases. Wait, it's actually 10 vases. But either way, how's me stepping on the grass and you breaking these vases the same thing? Kim glared at Stephen. What are you saying at a time like this? She went over to Zoe and tried to comfort her. Don't worry, maybe these vases are just for decoration. Yeah, you might be right. Why would they display valuable items on the table? They're probably not that expensive, Zoe said with uncertainty in her voice. Stephen bent down and picked up a porcelain shard. I'm not trying to scare you, but based on the quality of these vases, they're worth at least 1 million each. The elderly priest was fond of antiques, so Stephen learned a lot about them. Zoe started panicking. 1 million? There are 10 vases on the floor. So 10 million in total? Even though she and Henry had tens of millions worth of assets, most of them were fixed assets. They only had around 1 million in liquid assets. You don't understand anything. Why are you pretending like you're an expert on antiques? Henry yelled. A group of people rushed over after they heard the commotion. Henry spotted the property manager in the crowd. My friend's here. He won't care about such a minor accident. Henry hurried over to the property manager. I'm sorry to bother you. I accidentally broke something. Please, overlook it. I'll treat you to a drink next time. The property manager frowned when he saw the broken porcelain vases on the floor. Henry, what the hell are you talking about? Are you calling this breaking something? Do you even know what these are? They're priceless antiques. Each vase is worth at least 1 million. All of a sudden, Henry came up with an idea. He pointed at Stephen. This is all your fault. If you hadn't said all that nonsense about some mysterious person buying these villas, I wouldn't have been distracted. Zoe was quick to agree with him. Kim, this is your husband's fault. I must have been out of my mind. Why did I invite you two here? I don't care. You two will be paying the $10 million.
Kim looked at Zoe in disbelief. She didn't expect this cousin of hers to shift the blame onto her and Steven as a last resort. Steven took out his phone and sent a message to Jack. After pocketing his phone, he took a step forward. "They're right. I'm the one who broke these vases." Everyone was stunned by his unexpected confession. Henry and Zoe were so surprised that for a moment, they suspected that they didn't hear him correctly. Kim tugged Steven's sleeve. "Are you crazy?" The property manager looked at Kim and Steven like they were the solution to his predicament. If he couldn't resolve this mess, his position as the property manager would be in jeopardy. "Since you've admitted to breaking these vases, then pay up. Otherwise, I'll have to visit the Cassidy group and ask them for compensation instead." "What evidence do you have? They're the ones who broke the vases. This has nothing to do with me or my husband," Kim said. If Helen were to hear about this, she would never name her as the successor of the family. The property manager didn't care about the truth. He would insist that it was Kim and Steven's fault. If he received compensation from them, this issue would be resolved. Not only that, he might be able to ask Henry for more money. "It doesn't matter. Your husband was the one who said he broke them." Steven had admitted to breaking the 10 vases because he wanted to test the property manager. Besides abusing his position as the property manager to allow outsiders to visit the villas, he also had no conscience. This property manager was threatening them, even though he knew that they weren't at fault. Needless to say, Steven was disappointed in him. "Yes, I'm the one who broke the vases, but it was you who asked me to break them." The property manager didn't expect Steven to twist his words like that. "What? That's nonsense." "Do you really think it's nonsense? Don't tell me there's no security cameras in a place like this. Why don't you check the security cameras A1408, B6502, and C9997? Everything will be clear once you watch the footage." Steven was listing the security camera's serial numbers from the map that Jack had given him. The property manager's eyes widened. Those security cameras were top secret. "Who are you? How do you know so much about the villa's layout?" Just then, someone burst into the room. "All you have to know is that he's someone you can't afford to offend." The property manager couldn't believe his eyes. This man was Kelvin Mills, the CEO of one of the top 5 real estate companies in the country. His company was responsible for the development of the villas, and his net worth was at least $100 billion. Why would someone as prominent as Kelvin come to this city? Kelvin was in a bad mood. He had come to Los Angeles to meet with Steven, but right after he stepped off the plane, he received a call from Jack. Kelvin didn't know Steven's identity, but someone who had the means to purchase all the villas in one day couldn't be ordinary. Moreover, from Jack's respectful tone, Steven most likely had some connections with the Grand Palace Master. Getting on Steven's bad side would spell the end for him and his real estate company. Kelvin strode over to the property manager and kicked his shin. "Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Adams." The property manager had no idea what was going on. Wasn't Steven the worthless son-in-law of the Cassidy family? Why would an accomplished CEO like Kelvin Mills address Steven as Mr. Adams? Kelvin didn't hesitate to kick the property manager again when he stood there like a deer in headlights. "You fool!" Kelvin hurried over to Steven and lowered his head. "Mr. Adams, I'm very sorry." Kelvin stayed in that position after apologizing because he was afraid that Steven wouldn't forgive him. Henry and Zoe wondered if they were seeing things. A CEO with a net worth of $100 billion was apologizing to the trash son-in-law of the Cassidy family. Kim glanced at Steven. This was happening again. Just how many things was he hiding from her? Steven smiled. "Since you've personally come to apologize in person, I have nothing to say. What should we do about the broken vases?" "I'll compensate you, of course," Kelvin said with no hesitation. "Then, can my wife and I go now?" "Yes, my private helicopter is parked on the lawn. You and your wife may leave at any time." When they got home, Kim grabbed Steven's arm and pulled him into the bedroom. She locked the door and looked him in the eye. "Steven, don't you have something you want to tell me?"
Steven looked away to avoid Kim's intense gaze. It seemed like she had caught on to his real identity, but he hadn't tried that hard to hide it in the first place. "I don't know what you're talking about." Kim narrowed her eyes as she pushed him for an answer. I'll give you one last chance. Do you have something to tell me or not? Stephen's mind raced as he tried to come up with an excuse. It would be February 12th soon, and all of the surprises he had planned for Kim on their anniversary would have been for nothing if he told the truth now. When Stephen's gaze fell on the closet, he suddenly had an idea. I'm going to take a shower. Stephen hurried to the closet and grabbed a change of clothes before rushing to the door. Kim glared at him as he ran out of the room. He had left without answering her question. The day before the press conference, everyone in Los Angeles was shocked when they watched the news. 2 major events had occurred in a short amount of time. First, someone had offered to purchase the Moon of the Nile for $2 billion at the auction house. There were rumors that this mysterious bidder was from Los Angeles. Second, a mysterious business tycoon had purchased all of the villas at the highest point in the city for $5 billion. The members of the Cassidy family at the company were in an uproar. I was so shocked when I watched the news this morning. I didn't know our city had this many rich people. Poverty really does limit one's imagination. Our family was so happy to receive a $500 million investment, but there are people out there dropping billions like it's nothing. I can't help but wonder which lucky woman will receive the Moon of the Nile. I have a wild guess. Could the mysterious person who purchased the necklace and the mysterious person who purchased the villas be one and the same? I have a feeling that something big will happen in the city soon. When Stephen and Kim entered the building, everyone turned to look at them. Hey, as expected of someone who'll be celebrating their anniversary soon, you even need your husband to take you to work. Stephen, are you afraid we'll bully your wife? Harry said sarcastically. Rebecca joined in to mock them. I remember someone declared that he would make it up to Kim. I wonder what kind of gift you've prepared. Don't tell me you're the one who bought the Moon of the Nile. Stephen couldn't be bothered to entertain them. Kim, you don't have to worry about that. Everything will be revealed tomorrow. Kim watched Stephen leave the building. She couldn't help but have some expectations for him, because he had done nothing but surprise her for the past few days. As soon as Stephen went outside, he received a call from Keisha.
Mr. Adams, the top 20 families of the city have sent a greeting card to Global Investments. They'd like to meet you.
Keisha was excited because if Stephen could establish a good relationship with these elite families, Global Investment would rise to even greater heights. Okay, tell them to come over. I'll be heading to the company now. Just so happens I'll be able to find a place for them tomorrow. Stephen could guess that these families probably made the connection between the owner of Global Investments and the mysterious person who'd purchased the villas. He knew that the influence of these families couldn't be underestimated. Even though Helen said that she would make the announcement at the press conference tomorrow, it wouldn't be easy for Kim to become the successor. This meant that he would need to prepare ahead of time for anything that might happen. 2 hours later, Stephen's meetings with the heads of the family was coming to an end. Stephen was sitting at the head of the table. He looked around the room and asked, So, how do you all feel? Are you all satisfied with what we discussed today? Everyone was pleased with the outcome of the meeting. I'm very satisfied. With a $1 billion investment from Global Investments, the problem with our company's flow of funds will be resolved. I'm confident that my company will be even better than before.
Same here. Mr. Adams, with your introduction, our company has received millions of orders in only 2 hours. This is the most profit we've gained in years.
I feel the same way. I have a suggestion. Since everyone who's gathered here today are from one of the best families in the city, I suggest we repay Mr. Adams for his generosity with our loyalty. In the future, as long as Mr. Adams says the word, we will all do our best to make it happen. Everyone agreed. Even if Stephen told them to kneel right then and there, they would follow his orders without hesitation. Stephen waved his hand dismissively. There's no need to exaggerate. This isn't that serious of a situation. However, I do have something that I'd like to ask everyone. This concerns the Cassidy Group's press conference. By the time the meeting ended, the sky was already dark. Natalie started lecturing Stephen the moment he stepped in the door. Why are you coming back so late? You don't even have a stable job. You're always fooling around out there. Stephen didn't say anything. When he went to the living room, he saw Kim sitting on the couch with a frown on her face. Kim, did something happen? Harry told me that Grandma confirmed that he would be the successor of our family, and that I should forget about taking his position. Natalie put her hands on her hips. Why would she pick Harry over you? You're the one that won the bet. If that old woman continues to be biased, I'll find her tomorrow and give her a piece of my mind. Kim shook her head. That won't change anything. No one in the Cassidy family can change Grandma's mind once she's decided on something. Don't worry, Kim. Besides you, no one has the qualifications to become the successor, Stephen said confidently. At this time, Harry was with Helen at the Cassidy family's villa. Harry gave Helen a stack of documents. Grandma, I've done some investigating. It turns out that Stephen visited Global Investment before Kim, and he was there for much longer than she was. What's even more strange is that Keisha Daniels seemed to respect Stephen. She talks to him politely. I suspect this is Stephen's scheme. He forced Global Investments to give Kim a $500 million investment so that she'd get the upper hand in our bet. Stephen wants to use Global Investments and Kim to take our Cassidy family. Helen slammed her walking stick on the floor. He wouldn't dare! Grandma, I'm the one who suggested the bet, so I'm the one at fault. But we can't ignore that this is a huge problem. We can't let an outsider like Stephen lead the family. Humph, who cares about the bet? To me, there's nothing more important than preserving the Cassidy family's lineage. A lowly son-in-law dares to scheme and take over my Cassidy family. I won't sit back and let him do whatever he wants. Don't worry, I understand what you're saying. I won't let it happen.
What drastic actions will Helen take to prevent Stephen from gaining control of the Cassidy family?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.